What if I told you that the greatest war in history didn't happen between humans, but between two extraterrestrial brothers who decided the fate of all humanity? Have you ever stopped to think that maybe we're not the result of natural evolution, but rather the product of a cosmic battle between forces that came from the stars? What we're going to discover today might shake everything you believe about our origins. We're going to dive into the most controversial and fascinating story of the Anunnaki, where two powerful brothers waged an epic war for control of Earth. A dispute that not only shaped our planet, but continues to influence our reality to this day. Get ready, because this isn't just another story about UFOs or extraterrestrials. This is the revelation of how a cosmic family rivalry may have created everything we know about humanity. And the most intriguing part is that the evidence is hidden in the oldest texts of civilization, waiting for those brave enough to challenge conventional wisdom. In the ruins of ancient Mesopotamia, archaeologists discovered something that changed our understanding of human origins forever. Thousands of clay tablets containing the oldest recorded history of humanity lay buried beneath layers of sand and time. And in these cuneiform writings, a surprising narrative emerges that challenges everything we've been taught about our beginnings. The story of beings from space who not only visited Earth, but transformed our planet into a battlefield for cosmic supremacy. The Sumerians, who appeared out of nowhere about 6,000 years ago with advanced technology and knowledge that shouldn't have existed, left detailed records about these cosmic visitors. They called them Anunnaki, which literally means those who from heaven to earth came. But were these just myths created by primitive minds trying to understand natural phenomena? Or was something more real being documented with startling accuracy? The curiosity intensifies when we realize that these same stories appear in cultures separated by thousands of miles and centuries, with remarkable consistency in their core elements. How do we explain this coincidence? Is it possible that different ancient civilizations were all describing the same real events, witnessed by their ancestors and passed down through generations with religious devotion? Modern linguists have found that over 400 ancient cultures worldwide share strikingly similar creation myths, involving sky gods who created humanity, fought wars among themselves, and promised to return. This isn't just cultural coincidence. It's evidence of a shared historical memory that transcends geographical boundaries and temporal limitations. According to Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki came from a distant planet called Nibiru, which has an elongated orbit around our sun that brings it close to Earth approximately every 3,600 years. This mysterious planet, described as having a highly eccentric orbital path, approaches Earth during specific celestial alignments that ancient astronomers tracked with incredible precision. The records speak of a technologically advanced civilization facing a catastrophic atmospheric crisis on their home planet. Their protective atmospheric layer was deteriorating, causing deadly radiation to penetrate their world and threatening their entire species with extinction. To save their civilization, they needed gold, not for wealth or decoration, but as a crucial element capable of repairing their damaged atmosphere through advanced nanotechnology processes we're only beginning to understand today. And where would they find this precious metal in the abundance required for planetary salvation? Here on Earth, with its rich geological deposits that had been forming for millions of years. But it wasn't a simple mining mission undertaken by desperate refugees. The Anunnaki brought with them their own complex political structure, ancient rivalries, dynastic disputes and family conflicts that would soon transform Earth into an arena for settling cosmic scores. The story gains even more credibility when we observe that cultures around the world speak of gods who came from the sky, brought revolutionary knowledge and technology, established great civilizations, and then departed with solemn promises to return when humanity reached a certain level of development. The consistency of these accounts across isolated civilizations suggests they're describing the same historical events rather than independent mythological creations. Enlil was the military commander of the Earth mission, the legitimate firstborn son of King Anu, ruler of Nibiru and supreme authority of the Anunnaki Empire. His name means Lord of Wind, and he controlled not only atmospheric elements through advanced weather manipulation technology, but also held supreme authority over all operations on Earth. He was a rigid, disciplined leader who followed galactic protocols to the letter, believing that order and hierarchy were essential for maintaining cosmic stability. Ancient texts describe Enlil as a ruthless but effective ruler who saw primitive humans as nothing more than sophisticated work tools, biological machines created to serve Anunnaki purposes without question or complaint. To him, our species was entirely disposable, created solely to extract the gold needed for their atmospheric repairs and then be discarded once the mission was complete. His vision was crystal clear: extract the necessary resources, complete the mission efficiently, and return to Nibiru with minimal interference in the natural order. But there was something far deeper and more complex at play in Enlil's worldview. He represented the established cosmic order, the ancient hierarchies that had governed Anunnaki society for millennia, and the belief in absolute power as the foundation of civilization. He genuinely believed that the Anunnaki were inherently superior beings, and that any interference in Earth's natural development was not only justified, but necessary if it served their greater objectives and maintained universal balance. This authoritarian mentality, rooted in eons of Anunnaki tradition and reinforced by their technological superiority, would create the first great ideological conflict among the Earth mission team. Not everyone agreed with his harsh methods or his view of humanity as expendable resources, and it was exactly this fundamental philosophical divergence that would give rise to the most epic and consequential battle in ancient history, with implications that continue to reverberate through human civilization today. On the other side of this cosmic conflict stood Enki, Enlil's younger half-brother, but equally powerful in his own domain. Enki was the Lord of Waters, the mission's chief engineer, and most importantly, the brilliant geneticist scientist responsible for all biological experiments and terraforming operations on Earth. His personality and philosophical approach contrasted completely with Enlil's authoritarian methods, representing a fundamentally different vision of how advanced civilizations should interact with developing worlds. Enki was renowned throughout the Anunnaki Empire for his wisdom, scientific curiosity, and unusual capacity for empathy, traits that sometimes put him at odds with traditional Anunnaki values. While Enlil saw humans as nothing more than expendable workforce, Enki developed a profound emotional connection with his genetic creations, viewing them as his children rather than his slaves. He was the innovator, the experimenter, the visionary, who wasn't content with simply following established protocols when he saw opportunities for something greater. Ancient records reveal that Enki was the one who actually created modern humanity through revolutionary genetic engineering techniques that combined Anunnaki DNA with terrestrial genetic material from existing hominids. He took the primitive humanoids that had evolved naturally on Earth and enhanced them with carefully selected Anunnaki genetic sequences, creating a hybrid species with unprecedented potential. The result, was Homo sapiens, a being that possessed not only the physical capabilities needed for complex labor, but also cognitive abilities that far exceeded the original mission parameters. But here begins the real mystery that has puzzled researchers for decades. Why did Enki make these unauthorized genetic modifications? Was it simply to create more efficient workers for the mining operations, or was there a much larger, more ambitious plan behind his genetic experiments? And how did these secret enhancements lead to the definitive conflict with his brother that would reshape Earth's destiny? The official Anunnaki mission directive was straightforward. Humans were to be created as biological mining equipment for the African gold extraction operations. The Anunnaki workforce was growing weary of the backbreaking labor required to extract sufficient quantities of gold, and they desperately needed an alternative workforce that could handle the dangerous conditions in deep mining shafts. Enlil fully supported this utilitarian project, seeing it as an elegant and efficient solution to their labor shortage problem. But Enki had far more complex and revolutionary motivations driving his genetic research. The ancient texts suggest he saw extraordinary potential in the human species that went far beyond simple manual labor and resource extraction. In direct violation of mission protocols, he secretly implanted additional genetic sequences that would give humanity superior cognitive abilities, enhanced creativity, extended longevity, and most dangerously of all, the capacity for independent thought and spiritual development. This wasn't merely a scientific decision made in a laboratory. It was a deliberate act of rebellion against the established cosmic order and everything Enlil represented. Enki was essentially creating a species that could eventually rival the Anunnaki themselves in intelligence and capability, a prospect that would have been considered treasonous by Anunnaki leadership. When the first hybrid humans began demonstrating exceptional intelligence, problem-solving abilities, and even rudimentary technological innovation, Enlil realized that something was fundamentally wrong with the project. The situation became exponentially more complicated and potentially dangerous when some Anunnaki personnel began establishing romantic relationships and reproducing with human females, creating an even more powerful hybrid race with enhanced abilities. These beings, later known as Nephilim in various cultural traditions, possessed extraordinary physical strength, exceptional intelligence, and supernatural abilities that posed a direct threat to the established power structure and mission objectives. When Enlil discovered the full extent of what was happening with the human population and their rapid development, his fury was absolutely devastating. He saw in the growing hybrid human population not just a violation of mission protocols, but an existential threat to Anunnaki supremacy throughout the universe. These enhanced humans were developing too quickly, learning too fast, and beginning to question their servile status. His decision was as radical as it was final: completely eliminate the human experiment before it could spiral completely out of control. The perfect opportunity for this drastic solution presented itself when Anunnaki scientists detected that Nibiru's next orbital approach would cause massive gravitational instability throughout Earth's systems. Polar ice caps would melt catastrophically, tectonic plates would shift violently, and ocean levels would rise dramatically, causing a planet-wide flood of unprecedented proportions. Enlil saw this natural disaster as divine providence, the perfect cover for eliminating the human problem without technically violating cosmic laws against genocide. But Enki could never allow his beloved creations to be destroyed so callously, especially when they had done nothing wrong. except fulfill the potential he had deliberately given them. Working in absolute secrecy and at tremendous personal risk, he warned a loyal hybrid human named Utnapishtim about the imminent global catastrophe. He provided detailed instructions for building a sophisticated survival vessel and preserving not only human life, but also genetic samples of all terrestrial life forms, ensuring that Earth's biodiversity would survive the coming disaster. This was the definitive declaration of war between the two brothers, a conflict that would transcend their personal rivalry and become a battle for the very soul of human civilization. Enlil discovered Enki's betrayal only after the flood preparations were too far advanced to stop. The Great Deluge occurred exactly as predicted, but humanity survived, protected by Enki's advanced knowledge, compassionate warning, and revolutionary vision of what our species could become. After the waters receded and the survivors emerged to rebuild their shattered world, the rivalry between Enlil and Enki took on entirely new dimensions and became far more sophisticated in its execution. They could no longer engage in open warfare without risking the complete destruction of Earth and everything they had worked to establish. So the battle evolved into something more subtle but equally consequential. A shadow war waged through influence, technology transfer, religious manipulation, and careful human guidance. Enlil established elaborate systems of centralized control and rigid hierarchy, creating the first authoritarian civilizations where small ruling elites controlled vast populations. Through fear, religious doctrine, and military might, he influenced the development of organized religions that emphasized unquestioning obedience, ritual sacrifice, submission to higher authorities, and acceptance of predetermined social roles. His followers taught that suffering was noble, that questioning authority was sinful, and that salvation could only come through complete submission to divine will. Enki, demonstrating his fundamentally different approach to human development, worked tirelessly to accelerate human intellectual and spiritual evolution by transmitting advanced scientific, mathematical, astronomical, and spiritual knowledge through carefully selected secret groups of initiates and mystery schools. He was directly responsible for the sudden emergence of inexplicably advanced civilizations like the Egyptians, who appeared seemingly overnight with sophisticated astronomical knowledge, architectural techniques, and mathematical understanding that shouldn't have existed according to conventional historical timelines. This ongoing secret war between two fundamentally different philosophies explains numerous historical anomalies that continue to puzzle mainstream researchers and archaeologists. How did ancient civilizations achieve precise knowledge about astronomy, including information about distant planets and stellar mechanics, that modern science would only rediscover thousands of years later using advanced telescopes and space exploration? Why do megalithic structures around the world demonstrate mathematical precision and engineering capabilities that seem impossible given the supposedly primitive tools available during those eras? The ancient battle between Enlil and Enki left unmistakable traces in human genetics and behavior that we can identify and analyze even today using cutting-edge scientific techniques. Modern genetic analyses reveal that approximately 200,000 years ago, human DNA underwent sudden and dramatic modifications that simply cannot be explained through gradual evolutionary processes or natural selection pressures. Scientists speak of a mysterious genetic bottleneck where our species nearly went extinct and then rapidly developed unique characteristics that distinguish us from every other life form on Earth. Ancient texts from completely different cultures, separated by vast distances and thousands of years, describe remarkably similar events with stunning consistency. Powerful gods, who came from the sky in magnificent flying vehicles, created or genetically modified existing humans, fought devastating wars among themselves using weapons of unimaginable power, and then departed with promises to return when humanity reached sufficient maturity. Hindu mythology speaks in detail of Vimanas, advanced flying machines of the gods equipped with weapons that could destroy entire cities. Biblical texts consistently refer to Elohim, a plural Hebrew term meaning gods, rather than the singular God that later religious interpretations claimed. Recent archaeological discoveries at sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey have revolutionized our understanding of ancient civilizations, revealing that complex, sophisticated societies existed much earlier than previously thought possible. These 12,000-year-old structures were built with architectural precision and astronomical alignments that defy conventional explanations about human development and technological capabilities during supposedly primitive eras. But perhaps the most compelling and intriguing evidence lies in human behavior itself and our unique characteristics among Earth species. We are the only life form on this planet that constantly looks up at the stars with longing, persistently questions our origins and purpose, feels an inexplicable nostalgia for something we've lost, and possesses an innate drive to explore beyond our world. Could this unprecedented behavior pattern be genetic memory of our true cosmic heritage, encoded in our DNA through Anunnaki intervention? Groundbreaking studies in epigenetics have demonstrated that traumatic experiences and significant events can be transmitted through generations via genetic modifications and inherited memory patterns. If humanity really experienced a cosmic war, near-extinction events, and genetic manipulation by advanced beings, these profound experiences could be permanently encoded in our DNA and passed down through countless generations, influencing our behavior, instincts, and subconscious drives. This revolutionary scientific understanding would explain our species' instinctive fascination with stories of gods and supernatural beings, our persistent tendency to create complex social hierarchies and power structures, our constant search for forbidden knowledge and hidden truths, and our unique ability to imagine possibilities beyond our immediate reality. Perhaps we are literally genetically programmed to remember the ancient conflict between our creators and to carry forward the unresolved tensions of that cosmic war. The fundamental rivalry between order and chaos, authority and freedom, science and spirituality that permeates every aspect of human society could be a direct reflection of the philosophical conflict between Enlil and Enki. We are not just living in the aftermath of an ancient war. We are literally embodying the echoes of that ancestral conflict in our daily choices, social structures, and civilizational development patterns. Contemporary researchers have noted that certain human populations and genetic lineages demonstrate characteristics suggesting differentiated inheritance patterns from the original Anunnaki intervention. Some family lines show greater propensity for questioning established authority, scientific innovation, artistic creativity, and spiritual seeking, while others display stronger tendencies toward hierarchical thinking, rule-following, and traditional religious observance. Could these observable differences be traced back to whether their ancestors were aligned with Enki's evolutionary agenda or Enlil's control-based philosophy? One of the most fascinating and undeniable pieces of evidence supporting the Anunnaki conflict theory is the impossible knowledge preserved in ancient texts that predates any conventional explanation for how such information could have been obtained. The Book of Enoch, for example, describes in remarkable detail the structure of the universe, including specific information about astronomical phenomena, planetary mechanics, and cosmic geography that was only confirmed by modern science using advanced telescopes and space exploration technology. Ancient Sumerian texts contain sophisticated mathematical formulas, precise knowledge about atomic structure and matter composition, detailed descriptions of advanced technologies that read like modern science fiction, and engineering principles that we're only beginning to fully understand today. How could a civilization that supposedly had barely invented the wheel and basic agriculture possess such comprehensive understanding of advanced physics, chemistry, astronomy, and technology? The most logical answer may lie in Enki's continuing influence throughout human history, manifesting through carefully preserved knowledge, transmission systems, and direct inspiration of selected individuals. Periods of sudden scientific advancement and cultural renaissance, such as the European Renaissance, the Islamic Golden Age, and the Scientific Revolution, often coincide mysteriously with the rediscovery of ancient texts, the emergence of secret societies dedicated to preserving forbidden knowledge, or the appearance of revolutionary thinkers who claim to receive inspiration through dreams, visions, or mystical experiences. History's greatest innovators and visionaries, Leonardo da Vinci, Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, and countless others, frequently reported receiving their most important insights and discoveries through dreams, sudden inspirations, or mysterious visions that provided complete solutions to complex problems. Could it be possible that sophisticated communication channels still exist between Enki and certain genetically receptive individuals who serve as conduits for advancing human knowledge and capability? By carefully observing current patterns and trends in human society and technological development, we can clearly identify the two fundamental philosophies still locked in active conflict on a global scale. On one side, we see powerful forces working to centralize control, limit access to information, maintain rigid hierarchical structures, and keep populations dependent on established authorities for their basic needs and understanding of reality. On the other side, we observe growing movements promoting decentralization, free sharing of knowledge and resources, consciousness evolution, individual empowerment, and the democratization of advanced technologies. The internet and digital communication. Networks represent perhaps the most obvious modern battlefield of this ancient philosophical war. Never before in human history have ordinary people had such unprecedented democratic access to information, educational resources, and global communication capabilities. Simultaneously, we face increasingly sophisticated levels of digital surveillance, information manipulation, censorship, and technological control systems that would have been unimaginable just a few decades ago. It's as if the fundamental philosophies of Enki and Enlil are literally fighting for dominance through the very technological infrastructure that connects our modern world. Current developments in biotechnology, genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and space exploration can be understood as the natural continuation of Enki's original agenda to accelerate human evolution and expand our capabilities beyond Earth's limitations. Meanwhile, persistent attempts by governments, corporations, and international organizations to regulate, control, restrict, or weaponize these same technologies clearly reflect Enlil's mentality of maintaining hierarchical control and preventing unauthorized human advancement. The crucial question that will determine our species' future is, which philosophical approach is gaining dominance in this ongoing conflict? And perhaps more importantly, Which approach should prevail for the long-term benefit and survival of humanity as we face increasingly complex global challenges and opportunities for expansion beyond our home planet? Ancient texts from diverse cultures speak with remarkable consistency about the eventual return of the gods, when humanity reaches sufficient maturity for the next stage of cosmic evolution. Given our current unprecedented advances in genetic engineering, quantum physics, artificial intelligence, space technology, and consciousness research, it's entirely possible that we are rapidly approaching that prophetically significant moment. In our species development, UFO sightings and encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena have increased dramatically over recent decades, and governments around the world have begun officially acknowledging and documenting the existence of advanced craft demonstrating technologies far beyond current human capabilities. Could this surge in activity be evidence that the Anunnaki are returning to evaluate the progress of their ancient terrestrial experiment and determine humanity's readiness for direct contact? If Nibiru truly follows a 3,600-year elliptical orbit around our Sun, and considering that the last catastrophic flood occurred approximately 13,000 years ago, basic orbital mechanics suggest we may be approaching another close approach within the next few centuries. Recent unexplained disturbances throughout our solar system, accelerated climate change patterns, increasing geological instability, and unprecedented space weather phenomena could be early indicators of external gravitational influences from a large approaching celestial body. But the most critical question facing humanity is not whether they will return, but which Anunnaki faction will arrive first, and what their intentions will be toward our significantly evolved species. Will it be Enlil's followers, seeking to reassert direct authoritarian control over a human population that has grown far beyond their original parameters? Or will it be Enki's allies, coming to guide humanity's transition to the next level of cosmic evolution and interstellar civilization? Regardless of the ultimate truth about our actual origins and the historical reality of Anunnaki intervention, the philosophical lessons embedded in the rivalry between Enlil and Enki remain profoundly relevant and essential for navigating our species' future challenges and opportunities. The fundamental choice between authoritarian control systems and evolutionary freedom continues to be civilization's most crucial dilemma, influencing every major decision we make as a global society. Perhaps our highest mission as a species is not to simply choose sides in this ancient cosmic conflict, but to transcend it completely by creating something entirely new and unprecedented. We have the unique opportunity to integrate the beneficial aspects of Enlil's emphasis on order, discipline, and systematic organization with Enki's vision of unlimited evolution, creative innovation, and compassionate development, synthesizing these approaches into a higher form of civilization that neither brother could achieve independently. Each human generation has the extraordinary opportunity and responsibility to influence the trajectory of this cosmic battle through their individual choices, collective actions, and the values they choose to embody and transmit to future generations. Every time we consciously choose knowledge over willful ignorance, compassion over domination, cooperation over destructive competition, and evolution over stagnation, we are casting votes for the type of future we want to create for our children and our species. The ultimate question is not whether the Anunnaki existed in our ancient past or will return in our future. The question is, what kind of humanity will they encounter when they arrive? Will we be a species of slaves, waiting passively for new masters to tell us what to do and how to live? Or will we have evolved into a mature, conscious, technologically advanced civilization ready to take our rightful place among the cosmic community of intelligent species? The story of Enlil versus Enki forces us to fundamentally question everything about our origins and destiny as a species. While it may seem like science fiction, evidence from archaeology, genetics, and ancient texts continues pointing in directions that academic institutions are reluctant to explore seriously. The consistency of ancient narratives across isolated cultures, combined with scientific discoveries about human genetics, creates a picture that deserves serious investigation. Two cosmic brothers, a war for control of Earth, the creation of humanity as a genetic experiment. Could we really be the product of a conflict between gods from the stars? What really happened during humanity's mysterious past? Are we the result of a cosmic war that continues influencing our development? Will we ever know the complete truth about our origins? Leave your theory in the comments. Share your thoughts about this epic battle. If you were fascinated by this journey through the mysteries of our cosmic origins, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. We have many more ancient secrets to uncover together.